Okay, the video I'm making tonight is on thresholds. And first, I'm wearing this crown because my 8-year-old sister made it, and I told her I was going to wear it in videos. And it's pretty adorable. She made it out of scrap paper, and she ripped it instead of using scissors and then used my stapler to put it together. I think it's pretty creative. Um, the thresholds. I hear a lot of different people talking. I've seen some things made for thresholds, like things to clean it or different things um, to place over your doors or your windowsills to keep things out. So there's the idea of thresholds. A lot of people are incorporating in their practices or when they're doing protective magic around their home. So I wanted to talk more about it though. The word thresholds is from it comes from the place where you would do the threshing of the grain, where you take the grain off the stalk, and I guess the room that you would do it in, the the doorway was raised from the ground a little bit so it would hold all the grain in instead of just like you open the door and everything flows out. There's like a little I don't know, like a little space or something underneath the doorway. And there's a lot of different superstitions connected with the threshold. We've all heard the one about you pick up your bride and you walk her over the threshold. There's also so that she can't be bewitched or anything. Well, it depends on what you believe, but that's one of the ones I've seen mostly. Um, there's also in foot washing ceremonies, you take the water after first foot. How come I can't say it? Foot washing, and you'd sprinkle it over the entryway to the threshold. It's sort of like a protective magic. And I know some people now will create things like threshold salts, where it's basically when I look at it, it's like the same thing as a bath salt. I'll take when I make them, I'll just take different salts and I'll put protective herbs into them in different oils. But I guess the threshold salt you don't have to use skin safe ones, or ones that won't harm your body. And you'll sprinkle it around the bottom of the entryway, and then the energy is supposed to kind of like raise and keep it from anyone from entering that will bring negativity, or it's seen as like a cleansing thing depending on the focus of the herbs and everything that you use. Um, some people will do like visualization magic where they'll just envision sort of like a protective barrier around their doorways or their windows or any other opening really into your house. They're all seen as like in feng shui, they're all different openings for channeling energy, so to make sure that they're clear and everything. And then a lot of people also, a lot of pagans that I know, will put things around their windows and their doors to make sure that everything's protected. Like that witch balls. I know a lot of witches will put witch balls by their windows, but you should also put them by your doors. And then I see mirrors as uh, entryways for energy and for gazing into different places or for other places to be looking at you. So that's why I don't know if you can see it. There's a witch ball above my mirror back there that I got from Rita Spiritual Goods. I won it in an altar envy contest. Yay, thank you, Rita. Um, and over every doorway and everything, I keep looking at my doorway. Sorry, there's um there's a protective symbol or something that will draw things away. Like on the one side of my door right here, leading to my bedroom, there is an evil eye symbol. On the other side, there's a hex sign that's it's protective and it's also supposed to bring in luck. And then above my bed, I have pictures of different goddesses, and I also have a little thing that my mom made me that I tied at the bottom, a little protective witch ball my sister made, and on the other window, I have a hex sign above it and some other things as well. Even the bathroom door here, I have a hex sign. I know you can't see it. I don't know why I'm pointing. I have a hex sign above that, and I need to put one on the other side. Because even though it's still technically the same room, because I don't have a door in my bathroom, it's just a curtain, um, I still see it as a gateway. So, yeah, and then especially into the entryway of your house, I would really suggest putting up um, different protective things there on the outside. My mom, when we've moved everything, she puts a mirror up to reflect back any energy somebody's sending to her house, like a little circular mirror. You can probably get one at like Michael's or something. I know they sell them for craft supplies. You can put some sort of adhesive on the back to stick it up or something in that nature. And my mom also keeps a broom up in the front of the window, and that actually she did that against a specific person that was wreaking havoc in our lives and it actually worked. She puts it with the besom upside down with the straw or whatever that material was pointing this way and the stick going that way. So that's another way you can use protective magic in your threshold. And also making sure the entryway to your house has some protective things, like your front porch, making sure that it's clear, and maybe you put protective plants up or that protective energies, because a lot of times there's in mythology, not mythology, but in like folklore, there's things talking about like spirits that hide under the porch or things that lurk in the entryways to homes. I've read that quite a bit. And I'll do it with your backyard too, even though it's sort of seen like a flowing from your back to your front of your house, or I mean from the front to the back of your house. You can still pull in things, whichever entryway you go through. So hopefully you don't have a lot of windows and doors because you got a lot of protecting to do. If you're, I guess you could call it superstitious in that sense. But I actually see maybe it's just a mental thing too, or the act of doing it sort of sets it up in your mind. Some people also consider that there's a threshold line around your house. I haven't heard that one very often. I usually just see the openings in your house as thresholds. So people will put things around their house and in the corners of their property. Well, I've heard that one, the property one, where you put something each line, but I've never heard it called a threshold. Different corners of your property to protect your home. People will bury things or burn things or they'll take a bit of soil from every corner and use it in different protective spells. Also, I just lost my train of thought. There's tons of different things you can do. I do a lot of visualization before I go to sleep. I will imagine different barriers put up against my doorways and everything, and especially in my house, because you can imagine all you want in your bedroom or the room that you usually stay in, but the house is the main sort of thing. Keep people off the property too. So I imagine like this circle that starts with me and starts to emanate out, or starts with like my core, and it's like a white light at my core, and starts to emanate out, and then I see it visualizing it growing and growing and growing, but still sending out more energy, and then it eventually envelopes the whole house. I see it like as a dome, and then going underneath the ground as well. And so our house is in this like sphere of white light. I got the idea because my mom, when she checks on us before we go to sleep, or when we were growing up, she still does this sometimes, I think. She'll do a white circle of light where she'll draw a light around us, or visualize drawing a light around us before we go to sleep to protect us. And so I use that. I'm reminded of the idea of vampires, okay, not being able to cross your threshold unless you invite them in. So people who, there's the idea that if you invite somebody in, they're welcome and there's no repercussions for coming in. But if somebody comes in uninvited, your sort of magical traps that you put up will affect them. Or even if you don't have something set up, I kind of think that in the building of the house, these doorways and everything, even though I don't think they do it intentionally anymore, the act of creating them still has this resonating sort of thing that acts as sort of a thing that if somebody enters uninvited, they still have repercussions on them, so you have to be invited in. I know also, I've been reading a book and it's talking about when somebody has a disease or something's wrong with them, they'll pass them through like a unnatural sort of opening. Like they'll form stones in a certain way to have a hole so you can pass a baby through if it's sick, or they'll carve a hole in a tree that you can pass the udders of a cow in if it's not producing milk. So the threshold too is seen as sort of a thing to lift something off somebody. As you're passing through it, it can take something from you that's negative if you use it in that sense. And there's different practices that go along with that, but the idea is the threshold's really powerful, and when we walk through doors all day, I don't think we really think about it. I know I don't really think about it all the time. Well, usually only when I get home. Some people don't really consider like buildings like offices and workplaces and stores to really have a threshold, but that doesn't make any sense to me. It's a doorway, it's a gateway, you know. So or a window is a gateway sort of a thing. And I mentioned earlier, I feel that mirrors are sort of gateways. I know there's a lot of taboo with mirrors too, that you can't do magic practices in front of mirrors, but there's so many other gateways into your house and some of the other reflective areas that I can't see really getting away from it, you know? And I don't really see it as, if you have the right protection up, I don't see it as an issue. Yeah, that's pretty much it on thresholds. I know I can, if you want to tell me your practice of thresholds, I know some people sprinkle like holy water on their thresholds. Some people take chalk and put sigils up above their thresholds. In Germany, they put the three magi, or however you want to say it, the three kings, or three teachers. They'll put their name and they'll chalk it above their thresholds. I forget what day it is. I think it's New Year's. I could totally be wrong, but I gotta remember. I mean, I don't use that practice of the three kings or three wise men, whatever. So I'm not gonna remember the date. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's probably 10 more, but that's all the little things I wanted to share with you tonight. So thank you for watching.